Near the border of Afghanistan, where a secret and very dangerous battle is being waged against the ruling Taliban. Surprisingly, in this story, the warriors are the most oppressed, deprived, and pathetic people. They are the women.
There is no sign on the long, dusty road, no map to show us where we're heading.
It's like a fort.
Almost hidden in the vast expanse of desert, we arrive at a small refugee camp. Our guide, Sahar, remains wrapped in a scarf or chador to cloak her identity. Sahar is a fighter in the Revolutionary Afghan Women's Association, or RAWA. In the eyes of her countrymen, she is utterly powerless as a woman. But here in Pakistan, she and her compatriots are waging a secret war against the Taliban. RAWA's goal is to expose and destroy their extreme form of fundamentalism, imagined by Taliban leaders as a world almost entirely of men, where Sahar says females are nothing more than livestock for breeding. She's risking her life to take us on this journey.
I have to be very much careful about everything, about my security, my identity, who I am, what I'm doing. The punishment is already clear. It's already announced. It's stoning to death. Not only simply be killed, but stoning to death.
This is an oasis for the women revolutionaries, one of the few camps not controlled by Taliban enforcers. It's a safe haven for nearly 2,000 scarred souls, women, children, and a few men who have fled the bloodshed and deprivation that's all but destroyed their homeland. RAWA provides money to run this place and basic necessities like access to doctors, which women are denied in Afghanistan. Some arrive here nearly dead. Most carry the ghost of unimaginable suffering in their eyes. This orphan girl saw her mother blown up by a landmine. For women, this camp represents freedom from the dehumanizing veil mandatory in their country, and the beatings they can suffer for the slightest infraction of the Taliban's seemingly endless list of restrictions on female dress and behavior.
It's unbelievable. Laughing aloud, talking to a man, if even he is a relative, shaking hands with them, using perfume, wearing high-heeled shoes, even colors are banned, that the bright colors are banned.
No social group in the world, in the Muslim world, apart from the Taliban, have ever kind of imagined society without women.
Ahmed Rashid spent 20 years reporting on a succession of wars in Afghanistan and has written a detailed account of the rise of the Taliban. The world should understand, he says, that the Taliban leaders are psychologically different from the rest of the Muslim world.
The Taliban is the first social group in Muslim society who have really tried to say that women have absolutely no role in society at all, apart from bringing up children. And even that they cannot fully fulfill because they're not allowed to educate their children.
Many are young men born in refugee camps in Pakistan who have never known peace in their country and who have never had a normal relationship with a woman. Rashid says the majority were raised in the most extreme madrasas, or religious schools.
These were male boarding schools where you spent 7 to 10 years perhaps. You never met a girl, you never met a woman.
Students of these schools often come from the most impoverished refugee families who give up their children simply because they can't afford to feed them. They're taken in, cleaned up, clothed, fed, and indoctrinated with radical religious beliefs.
And one thing that they were kind of drummed into was that, you know, women are evil. Women weaken men's resolve to enact an Islamic law. And they could identify with that very closely because that was the environment that they had come from.
In the refugee camp in Pakistan, this is how RAWA is fighting back. Row upon row of girls study everything from math to language and world history. They know knowledge is power.
You ask if they'll show their hands, how many are from Afghanistan? How many have come across the border to be at this school? Everybody.
These girls would be outlaws in Afghanistan, subject to punishment for using their minds.
What do you hope you will get in life as you grow older from your education?
We are learning to educate other girls.
Yeah.
all people in Afghanistan, if we look around, everyone is uneducated, and they need us to give them education. And that's why we are learning here to work for our people and our country.
So the women's revolution unfolds in the desert from a lonely outpost, in a region of the world where social change is measured not in years, but in generations.
And speaking of the repression of women, it's been reported that Mohammed Atta, the lead hijacker in the World Trade Center attack, had made out a will in which he wrote that no woman should be allowed to go to his funeral. When we come back, the future of New York's now sacred ground. What should rise from the ashes?